Hello, my fellow riders, my fellow hunters. Today, it's time to talk about jeans. No, just the jeans. There's no, okay? And more specifically, the 5 best jeans to put on literally every Monstie, no matter what element, no matter what attack type. If you're looking at the hundreds of choices and thinking, bloody hell, what should I even use on my precious baby? Well, fear not, because these 5 that I'm going to mention are universally excellent, and a lot of them find their way into every endgame full-on min-max meta Monstie build, because they're just so universally useful. So I'll tell you what they are, I'll tell you where to get them, and I'll tell you it right now. First up then is Power Up XL for your Monstie's main element. So, you know, non-elemental attack up XL, fire up XL, lightning up XL, so on and so forth. You might be sat there going, bloody genius! Good lord, somebody give this man a promotion! Oh, I don't know what I'd do without this kit making videos! Wow, my word, that's... God, I would have thought about that. And I know, but it bears mentioning. It really does, because it's a significant boost. Don't think that, can I get away without it? Can I not put a just pure element damage increase? Not really. It's so strong. Just the base XL by itself, before you even upgrade it, and upgrading it adds an extra 10, gives 30 to the appropriate element. That is absolutely huge and contributes to a properly built monster doing absolutely ludicrous damage. Yeah, I'll be sharing that one with you later in the week. And it's also worth mentioning because they're all power, and you might look at your speed and technical Monstie and be like, I might lose a bingo, but trust me, it is worth it. No matter what Monstie you have, give it the XL max upgraded version of the attack up of its element. And no, they don't stack. You can't give an XL and then also give it an L and then an M, just the XL will take place. You'll still get the bingos and stuff, but only the highest rank of a gene will actually affect the Monsties. So, yeah, give them the big power. Coming up next, then, is a gene that, well, speaks for itself.
Hello, I'm Selfheal. I make you feel better.
Look, okay, this one really does what it says on the tin. Selfheal XL. This means every single turn your Monstie will be granted a beautiful injection of HP. A nice large chunk of it. And it is a large chunk, although it might initially seem like it's not crazy, but it really can push you over the edge. It can take you from just under half health to just over it, meaning you're no longer 2-shottable, but you're now 3-shottable. In PvP, it's annoying as hell to have to deal with that constant healing as you're going back and forth, trying to murderize each other's many beating hearts, and it just makes everything a lot easier when all of your Monsties are healing all of the time for free. And you can combine it with Immunizer the item, and this is a lovely way to have your Monstie powering up health for 10 turns. Over 130 per turn just for free. Like, it's really ridiculously good and will always be incredibly helpful. This comes from essentially any Elder Dragons, but you can also get it from the Fire Palamute, which is really nice as well, as that's quite a reliable way to farm it, and you really want to just go chain farm Nergies in Turga. Nergi can give you multiple of the best genes in the game, and another one that will also be on this list, he is just useful to have a supply of for lots of big XL goodliness. Next up is a bit of a wild card here, but I want to mention Dancer. And the reason I want to mention Dancer is because I have a soft spot for it. I really like it as a gene, as a skill. Essentially, think of it as Monster Hunter Stories 2 peak performance. When you're at full health, good things happen, and those good things are a near 20% buff to both damage and defense, and a +1 to your speed. Now that +1 to your speed might not seem amazing, but that can have you going before a lot of other monsties, and in PvE that's just fine, but in PvP that can be all the difference between winning or losing. And also that 20% extra damage on your first hit that you deal is great. That is a huge little boost, and a 20% reduction on the first hit that you take, also really good. And let's be honest, you heal your monsties. You don't just sit at low health for ages, because that's dangerous. You generally power them up with a potion and then reactivate Dancer. The other lovely little neat trick when it comes to Dancer is with riding your Monstie. When you hop on, you generally fully heal your Monstie from your own health, which then will reactivate Dancer on the Monstie, and then if you instantly kinship, well, that gives a 20% damage boost to your kinship attack, which is of course one of your most powerful attacks. So it's just a really useful gene to just slap on a Monstie and forget about it. Now in a super refined min-max build, it might end up being removed. Probably out of everything on this list, this is the most likely to be removed, but in PvP perhaps not. In any case, it's just a really powerful skill that sees a lot of uptime and comes in handy in a lot of ways without you having to think too much about it or do complicated bingos, etc, and I really like it. This you're going to get from essentially any water Monstie, but it's very reliably farmable off the water Palamutes. In fact, the Palamutes in general are a really, really good gene farming source. Following that then, it's time for the soul kinship. Soul kinship. What this is literally just more kinship from every source. Every time you would gain kinship, you will gain a bit more kinship for having soul kinship. So you know Pet, when you tell your Monstie he's the goodest boy ever and he gains 15 kinship? Well, when you have soul kinship, that becomes an absolutely metric ton of kinship, and obviously as you can spam it, you can do really, really good things, but also more kinship from head to head, more passive generation, more just kinship, and of course more kinship is amazing. You can spam your attacks, you can spam ride, you have the resources to do all the best, most powerful, and most fun stuff just in, well, the game. So on any Monstie with a free slot that you're not sure of, soul kinship will be your best friend, because it will just make everything easier, because everything does get easier when you have more and more and more of the most valuable resource that you can get in a fight. In PvE, being able to have rides more is incredibly safe. Being able to swap what your Monstie's doing when they decide to ignore their actual attack type and go, Look, Papa, I know I'm technical, but I'm doing a power and I'm going to die! Look at me go! It's like, why? Why are you doing that, buddy? Go back to your normal attack type! And you'll always have the kinship to fix that. So, very, very good. Finally then, for my number one spot, I will give you a choice of two. And this is a choice between offense and defense. One amazingly generically good gene for each. In the defensive side of things, we have Divine Blessing. It is ridiculously good in Stories 2. If you have XL, if you maximum upgrade it, you will find yourself, well, having a wonderful time. It will proc, I'm getting results of at least every other attack is getting Divine Blessinged, and the damage reduction is absolutely massive. You just find your Monstie becomes near immortal all the time for its presence, and it's great to just sit there and keep you alive, keep you relatively safe, and just make everything much, much less stressful. It's an absolutely incredibly potent gene, and it comes from, well, a absolutely huge selection of Monsties, so you'll probably just have some sat around. I heartily would recommend it if you are at all having issues with survivability, both on your Monstie and your Hunter. It's fantastic. Offensively then, we're going to go from Mr. Rajang and only Rajang, one of his signature moves, Amplified Power. This, from all testing, is a plus 50% damage boost to your next two attacks. Now, that might not be the most precise number, there is external factors, but generally speaking, it's the most universally potent amp in the game, as makes sense from, you know, our bloody rock spirit bombing overlord. If you're wondering what should go in a slot, and you know, you have a spare monkey sitting around, which I admit might be the most difficult part of this. Just whack on good old amplify power, and then when your monster uses it, he will become an absolute god for the next 2 turns. If you then combo that with a particularly powerful move, command him to do it, or a kinship, you're going to find yourself absolutely nuking the enemy both in PvP and PvE. Slightly better for PvE, because setup moves in PvP tend to be a bit slow and you might get punished for it, but generally speaking, it is just a gloriously good damage buff and can really work out in key moments. So there you have it, guys. The 5, I would say, just generally best genes to generally go on any Monstie, no matter what. And you, well, can do with that information what you will. Look out very soon for actual Monstie builds to start, and they are ridiculous. You're going to very much enjoy them. At least I hope you will. Just as I hope you have enjoyed this. Like if you did, subscribe for more. Please consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and I will see you soon. A goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.